Okay, hi and good morning, all of you. Welcome to Alpha H Academy, and we welcome you to the first episode of AB Discuss with Maddy. Today, we shall be discussing about the G20. What is it? What are its challenges? What are its importance in the current global scenario? Now, to start with, G20 is a group of countries, 19 countries plus European Union, and it represents 85% of the global GDP, 75% of global trade, and two-thirds of the world's population. And joining with us today is Madhav Patro, co-founder of Alpha IS Academy, who shall be discussing and putting light on this. So, Madhav, good morning. It's a very cold morning
Good
out there.
morning. Good morning.
Yeah. So, if you can brief us, like what is G20? Why was it formed?
G20 is a group of countries, 19 plus European Union. Okay. Actually, if you trace the origin of the G20, you will find it from 1997. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, before that, the developed worlds, especially Western countries, they have a group called G7. Means G7, those are the countries which have high per capita income and they have high standard of living, especially USA, Canada, Japan, UK, France. What happened is that in 1997, there is a Asian financial crisis happened. उसमें क्या हुआ था कि हमें ब्रीफली जानने के लिए एक कॉन्सेप्ट समझना पड़ेगा इसमें कि कैपिटल कन्वर्टिबिलिटी जो जो हमें पता है जो इंडिया अभी भी फॉलो करता है कि पार्शियल जो अपना एफडीए जो भी
If I
आती है.
may interrupt, I'll just brief my our audience on there are two kinds of account. One is current account and one is capital account. For that, you can always see our economic series, and there is a current account convertibility and there is a capital account convertibility. So the context referred to by Madhav is that capital convertibility, right, Madhav?
या एग्जैक्टली.
Okay.
तो उसमें क्या हुआ था कि जो स्पेशली एशियन कंट्रीज ने जो थाईलैंड, मलेशिया, इंडोनेशिया, उस कंट्रीज ने ना फुल्ली कैपिटल कन्वर्टिबिलिटी में अपना इकोनॉमी को कन्वर्ट कर चुके हैं, जिसमें कोई भी रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं था कि इतना भी एफडी आ सकती है और कितना भी एफडी फ्लाइट हो सकती है. तो 1997 में क्या हुआ, थाईलैंड पे स्टार्ट हुआ था, जिसकी उनकी जो करेंसी थी यूएस के डॉलर के हिसाब से वो बहुत ही डिवैल्यूएशन होने लगी. उस डिवैल्यूएशन के बाद वो जो फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस था वो स्प्रेड होने लगा पूरा आसियन नेशंस पे और ईस्ट एशियन कंट्रीज पे. तो उसमें बोलते हैं कि एशियन फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस. उसके बाद तो ये डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज स्पेशली G7 नेशंस को लगा कि जो ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी है विदाउट डेवलपिंग नेशंस को इंक्लूसिव में इंक्लूड किया बिना हम आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते हैं, मतलब ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी को कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते.
Like
तो इसके बाद
in just brief words, हमें हमेशा 2008 की बात करते हैं, सब लोग बस बोल के निकल जाते हैं कि 2008 में ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस हुई. एक्चुअली 2008 में आप जस्ट इन 2 वर्ड्स अगर आप बता पाएंगे तो 2008 में एग्जैक्टली हुआ क्या था?
2008 में सिंपल है, जो मतलब सिंपल लैंग्वेज में समझना है तो सिंपल है. उसमें क्या हुआ था कि जो यूएस का जो स्पेशली यूएसए कि जो फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम था उसने, क्योंकि यूएस का जो फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम है वही ग्लोबल डिपेंडेंट है, क्योंकि हमने कोई भी चीज होती है डॉलर के बेस में ही हम मेजर करते हैं. तो उधर क्या हुआ था कि उसको बोलते हैं हाउस बबल. हाउस बबल मतलब जो हाउसिंग जो हाउसिंग क्रेडिट होती है ना, जो लोन देते हैं वो बहुत ही मैसिव वे में दे दिए थे, जैसे उतनी रेगुलरिटी नहीं थी. जैसे इंडिया में आप हाउसिंग लोन पे जाओगे तो आपको बहुत ही सारी डॉक्यूमेंट्स भरनी पड़ती है, आपकी प्रॉपर्टी कोलेटरल दिखाना पड़ता है, इनकम सिक्योरिटी दिखानी पड़ती है. लेकिन यूएस में क्या होता है कि आप उस टाइम पे उन्होंने बहुत ही आराम से, मतलब सिंपल मेथड पे आपने घर खरीदा, दे दिया. वो क्या हुआ था कि सर्टन एक्सटेंट वो सही था इकोनॉमी के लिए, लेकिन बाद में जब लोन रीपे नहीं हो पाया, तो फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन जो थे उनके बड़े बड़े, वो कोलैप्स होने लगे।
exactly. And
तो
that's
वही
that's why we should be very proud of
ग्लोबली
our.
इफेक्ट हुआ।
Yeah, yeah. Sorry to interrupt. My, I'm saying that's why we should be very proud of our regulatory agencies like SEBI and RBI. Those guys have done tremendous work, to save us from these kind of,
हाँ,
global or economic instability. Okay, Madhav, if you can just tell us what are the challenges the G20 will be facing in coming time.
सॉरी से अगेन।
Challenges that G20 faces. Challenges.
Okay, actually, G20 next year, India assuming the presidency.
Exactly,
Actually,
exactly.
then especially India have a lot of challenges along with
Okay,
opportunities.
okay.
Okay, I will pick a few challenges which are the major challenges for India. First is how India can balance the Western countries with Russia, and especially the Ukraine war conflict.
Exactly. That's
Okay,
the most important thing, I think. Yeah.
most important thing because India is clearly saying that Ukraine war is not a good
Feasible.
for this era.
Exactly.
But at the same time, India doing some little bit favors in the UN platform by abstaining the key conferences
Key
and some, yeah,
from voting.
and
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. So
It's
India
it's
has
it's
the
it's a it's
challenges.
a good boy bad boy approach, I think.
Exactly, exactly. Now India has a challenge to balance Western countries with Russia.
Exactly.
Okay. And another major challenges for India, especially domestic challenges, is
Correct.
Chinese president.
Yeah.
He going to be visit twice India next year
Okay. Next year. Yeah.
for meeting because around the day they will be India will going to be conduct 200 meetings to next
Okay.
year G20
Yeah.
meetings.
Exactly.
Okay, because and one more thing we have to know that G20 doesn't have the permanent secretary. It is
Yeah.
important for the films.
Yeah.
So the India will be those countries will get the presidency. They will create a temporary secretary
Yeah.
in Delhi. They will
Exactly.
conduct all the meetings. Okay, coming back to the point. Uh, Next year, the Chinese president visit because in the backdrop of the conflict between India and China in the border
China. Yeah.
disputes, huh? And along with the China support with Pakistan regarding various matters and global platforms, and along with the China role in the Afghanistan. So this
Uh,
triangular problem
yeah.
will be the challenge in the India where the
Exactly.
Chinese
Exactly.
president will.
To sum up, if I may say, to sum up, the presence of China and the relations of ours with China is one major problem. Then the second thing is that you pointed out the major secretariats of all big organizations or which are global in nature are in the Western countries, are in Europe or in the USA. But then now the time has come. I think that our secretariat should be moved towards more east. It should be in India, China, southeastern countries. That reflects a kind of balance in global issue. Yeah. Also, you can if you can just put some light on these were the challenges. Now what are the opportunities we have as we go into a changing world scenario now. The balance of power is shifting. There is too much going on. Yesterday, if on a lighter note, I may say the Poland football team was escorted by two F-16s, to the Qatar airspace. Now that's that's something which is very interesting in the changing scenario. But if you can tell us the opportunities which India have when India hosts the G20 summit next year.
Oh, before coming to the opportunities, I have to mention one more important challenge is that
Okay,
the post-pandemic economic recovery. Because the G20 already you mentioned before that this is important because they represent 80% of the global GDP.
exactly.
Okay, the post-pandemic recovery of the global economy is depends on these 20 nations. If these 20 nations do good, then the global economy will perform good. Okay, so the important is that now we have the inflation rate rising in major countries, major economies. and there is a financial instability. For example, United Kingdom and Latin America. So, lot of economic challenges along with geopolitical challenges. India has economic challenges also in the
Exactly,
G20
exactly.
presidency.
Yeah,
And now coming to the opportunities.
I think the global economic and social challenges all go hand in hand as we develop or move forward. And the food problems, the energy problems, we cannot address it in silos, but then we have to as a whole, as a integratively, as a team, we have to solve it. We can't go. We cannot separate energy from terrorism or terrorism from energy. I think that's all interconnected because the world is so interconnected now. You know. Uh, to just give an example, the indices that on which the US market close affects the Indian markets the next morning in a big way. Even if the
Yeah,
Indian markets
exactly.
are going strong, so that's how, or that's that is the kind of integration we have now in the global economies. Okay, mother, it's now let's very on a very conclusive note, like if you can tell what is the way ahead for G20?
Look, thus India has a lot of opportunities in the G20. For example, they will become the voice of the developing nations, particularly in economy and political way also. And at the same time, they have the look. India is always seen as a second leader, and never seen as a first leader when it comes to the global conflicts. Uh, so, so India can show the world that yes, it can lead major way for the global development. So it is one of the major opportunity. And third one is that India has the opportunity to show the world for how the geopoliticals. For example, India has last 2 years, India has a foreign minister and prime minister in various global platforms. They said that this is not the era of bilateralism or something. It is the
Well,
era of the multilateralism
exactly.
because this
We
is
cannot
not
have
the
one
Cold
country
War.
leading the world. It should be
Uh,
a group of countries. In fact, it
one
should
country
be
or
the
few.
common values that should be guiding us.
Exactly. This is not the era of the one, two, or two countries will guide the whole world. This is the era of the multilateral countries. So this president is very important for the India
For
that it can show the world that this is the era of the multilateralism. This is not the
exactly,
era of the
not
Cold War.
only for India, but then the world and global. The uh, countries as a whole also, because the west, and I always tell you that India will act as a bridge. Every country is now
Exactly.
see India towards
Exactly.
India, because the our position of neutrality and non-alignment, that has been our values from since independence. That has led us to a very strong foundational values in global affairs. And on a concluding note, I just say that India is a leading power, and the problems faces by the world as a whole can effectively be solved by India. And the but our, whatever the divide is there, that can be effectively bridged by India on global issues. And that all in this session of AB Discussions with Maddy. Please give us your review. And Madhav, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for giving your time. I
And
know
one
that
more thing, one
yeah,
more
yeah,
thing,
please, please, please.
and one more thing, we can the whatever you discussed in this topic, how
Yeah,
is relevant to the UPSC?
UPSC,
This
yeah,
is
of
my
course.
question to you.
Of course, of course. From the prelims perspective, if I talk about members of the G20, you guys can learn facts related to its origin. We have discussed it. You can also we have put up a note on our website plus on our Telegram channel. You can always go there, and there is a note on G20. You can always read there. Whatever discussion we had today, the crux of it is given on that note. Last summit and the next summit can be a prelims question. Then from the mains perspective, we can get it into the GS2 international relations section. And also we have a sample question for you, and I'll just in a very brief tell you that critically examine the aims and objective of G20 summit in India. What important does it hold for India? So this is a discussion which is for general public as well, and in precise for the UPSC students. Thank you very much. Take care, and we shall see you next week. Bye bye.
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you.